Welcome. Welcome to Mountain of Inspiration. Welcome. Let me make sure that everything is actually working fine. Please bear with me. Yes, we are live. Welcome to Mountain of Inspiration. I hope that everyone is having a fantastic day or fantastic afternoon, wherever you're watching me from. Let's check the sound. Oh yes, we are live. We're definitely live. Thank you very much. Again, welcome to Mountain of Inspiration. My name is Dimitri. I am the gentleman who's simply on fire about seeing you get propelled to your next level or dimension as far as your journey to wealth creation is concerned, more specifically personal branding is concerned. I am based in Canada, more specific in a beautiful city known as Toronto. So if you're ever looking for me, now you know how and where to find me. All right, let's get started, shall we? Yes. Thank you very much for being here. Man of God, I am Reunion. Thank you very much. I hope that all is well with you. I so appreciate your support. I'm so looking forward to actually just spending some time with you. And I hope that all is well with you as far as what we have to do on a daily basis is concerned, more specifically today, Saturday. Yes, so again, thank you very much for being here. Yes, because you're the only one so far. So if you have any question, any comment, please let me know. Otherwise, I can just slowly but surely move into what I'm going to be discussing today. And today what we're discussing is how to, oh my goodness, please bring it up again. Oh, this thing is actually acting very finicky. Oh my goodness. Isn't this a bit too early for you? I'm seeing someone online who's going live today, hopefully at noon Eastern Standard Time in Ontario. And she is none other than Dahlia MTV. Dahlia MTV, good morning to you. I hope that all is well with you and you are getting ready to go live today at noon, because I'm so looking forward to actually seeing you live. If not, I understand, because things can happen and you are now a very busy woman. You are what I would simply call now the boss lady, a CEO with so many responsibilities, so many different hats you have to switch on your head from time to time. So I can appreciate that here from time to time. Life is not as easy as it used to be. So thank you very much for being here. Yes, again, so for today's session, what we're going to be discussing is simply how to rediscover yourself and to build an authentic self, a more present character to yourself when you're feeling down. And this is basically the second part of the presentation I've been having since yesterday, which is simply how to lead change, how to be the leader that your community needs right now, because your community is looking for fearless leader to show up, people authenticity, people with values to show up and to start leading the community. But most of us right now, we are scared because the weight of uncertainty, how things are going, banks collapsing in America again, and the dollar's losing its prestige at that yet a few years ago, a few months ago, and people don't know what's happening. The war in Ukraine it's still going. All this uncertainty, so many different moving pieces that we don't really know where the world is heading. And because of that, most people are basically now completely, if they have to be honest, they are completely now scared. They don't know what to do, and they're looking for direction. And this is the time and place for most of us right now, the 1%, to simply rise up and simply say, yeah, I'm going to lead. I'm going to manage the change that we're actually going through, and I'm going to be a leader within this change that we're all going through. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And yesterday, I took the time to talk about, oh yeah, she's getting ready. So she's going on today. Oh my goodness, yes. So please let me just share the link so people know exactly how to find you today. Oh, please bear with me. Dahlia MTV is going live today at noon. Yeah, so please bear with me. The link must be there so that people know exactly how and where to find you. And as everybody already knows, I love for people to actually mingle in the chat. So if you can find a way to grab information, and make sure at one point to go say hello to her and discover what she does, and this will be greatly appreciated. And this is also one of the ways that you can continue to grow yourself as a content creator as far as YouTube is concerned, because the more you network on YouTube and you go say hello to people, see what they're doing and support them, the more it's going to come back to you, because what you're doing is you're actually spreading out, and you're also spreading your business card, because your business card is your name, and wherever you go, you leave your name. People say, I Am Reunion was here. That MTV was here. Mountain of Inspiration was here. So they will remember you. They say, okay, so who is exactly this person, I Am Reunion? So let me go look them up. And when they look you up, they're going to see what you're doing and say, okay, maybe let me just have a look at what the person do and find a way to actually support you. They're going to come to Delhi MTV and see what you're doing and say, I know that, I can see that this lady has a vision. She's indeed a boss lady. So let me go find a way to continue to support her in what she is doing. And that's how things actually go. All right. So let me just get back to the presentation. And let me just do what I love to do best, which is basically, and this is a topic that's very close to my heart. As a matter of fact, I'm so glad that amongst the first people that actually here, I have a Pastor I Am Reunion. There's a particular, because let's just talk about what, a brief recap of what we talked about yesterday, which is basically fearlessness. I ended by talking about the Bible and talking about the one scripture that says He has not given us a spirit of fear. As a matter of fact, you can look it up for yourself. I'm sure you know the scripture. God has not given us the spirit of fear. God has not given us the spirit of fear. So that's what most people simply throw at you and say, no, you are not supposed to be You're not supposed to be fearful, because that's not a spirit that God has given you. You're supposed to be fearless. And they make it seem and they make it sound like God is an entity that basically never knew anything about fear. So therefore, He did not put any spirit of fear in you. And we use that, most people use that as scripture to simply go after people who are actually going through a moment of weakness or depression within the organization. People say, no, you don't have the right to be down. You don't have the right to be fearful of your tomorrow, because tomorrow will take care of itself. Plus, God has not given you the spirit of fear. So this verse is now put in front of you. Or you bombarded with this verse because people want to remind you that fear somehow is not of God. Fear is not of God. That's what they're saying. Fear is not of God. But yet, they are the same people who are going to tell you that we don't believe in evolution. We believe that God basically one day at one point said to Himself, I'm going to put something together. I'm going to breathe my rural breath into this piece of this piece of mud I've actually put together, and this muddy entity is going to be turned into a living being. And from this point, I'm going to cause the same living being to fall asleep. And as the living being is actually sleeping, I'm going to go snatch a piece of the ribs and actually use that to mold something, a better creation, a masterpiece. I'm going to call this masterpiece something that this first entity is going to call it. The first entity wakes up and says, oh my goodness, what is this? Oh my goodness, I can sense that this entity was taken out of my ribs, because I can sense there's a connection. I'm going to call this entity woman. And God simply said, yes, I agree with you. I'm going to call this entity also woman. So we have now a woman and a man. So this is the message that Christianity actually pushes out there. Simply says, we don't believe in evolution. We don't believe that we came from bonobos. We came from monkeys. We came from gorillas. We don't believe that. We believe that we simply were created as such, as men from the very beginning. So this is the message that we actually put out there. But as a matter of fact, I'm standing my ground because I know this thing very well. But as I'm saying, when you look closely, if you say that this is God's creation, I am God's creation, from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet, I am God's creation. I am made in His image, and everything I have is basically a part of, or an extension, or a representation of who He is. And He is within me. This is what we actually say on the other end. But when we say that, we also have to come into a place where we have to consider all the different parts that actually make us who we are. Because, for example, when you look at this thing called this thing here, this thing inside here, this tiny organ inside here, called the brain, the brain, the brain. When you look at the brain, you're going to see that when you look at the structure of the brain, there's a piece of the brain called amygdala. So AMYGDLAE. The amygdala. When you look at this thing called amygdala, which is part of the brain, you're going to simply come to realize that this amygdala is precisely what controls our ability to respond to danger by either doing a fight response, I'm going to fight no matter what, or I'm going to take a flight, I'm going to run away. So this amygdala is there present in every single brain you're going to see out there. Whether you look at men or you're going to look at monkeys, we all have this thing called the amygdala, which is called now in some circle the ancient brain, because it has always been there. We may have evolved now to do things differently. Our kids study differently. Our kids go to school by age 4 or 5, they can read. Our kids go to school by age 6 or 7, they can actually code. You and I, most people never actually learn even how to use computer when we're going to school. These kids now, computers basically, it's a thing of the past, because now they've gone above and beyond. They are doing coding. So the brains are basically being rewired differently. So the ability to do certain things is completely different. This is the reason why. For example, this company, a few months ago, a few years ago, they were in great trouble. IBM. Why? Because in IBM, there was a memo that eventually transpired. And the memo was simply saying that if you are over 40 years old within the company, you are what is simply called, considered a dinosaur. Why? Because they said people are 40 and over, when it comes to technology, they don't really understand certain basic key things, such as coding, such as the computer language. For them, the computer is still something they're discovering. Whereas the newer generation, all these basic things like coding and so on and so forth are basically part of the reality. So they are very comfortable with all this different technology, because the brain has evolved and our brain is still playing catch up when it comes to how far technology has evolved. Let me just give you a very key example as well. I have 2 children. My first was actually born, let's just say, before 2010. And as she was born before 2010, she was exposed to different technology. Back in the days when it comes to how to access entertainment, she was exposed to different things. The other one was born, let's say, post 2010. So this other one was also exposed to different technology when it comes to how to access entertainment. One day I'm talking to the youngest one, and I mentioned something to her, simply saying DVD. And she looked at me and she said, "Daddy, what is a DVD?" I say, a DVD is, she said, "Daddy, I don't know what a DVD is." And then I realized that for most of her life, she's actually been born, I've never used a DVD around her. I've never even used a CD around her. I said, "Oh my goodness, this is crazy." I said, "So you mean to tell me that technology has evolved that much before 2010 and after 2010, that to the point where this generation, when you mention to them anything about DVD CDs, they say to you, 'What is this?' Because they are not exposed to that. They can go, basically bring up the devices, and they can have access to anything they want. And if they want to access to movies, they can go to places like, I'm not going to mention it because they didn't pay me to actually do that, but it's places where you actually pay money. You have a monthly subscription, and you can get access to as many movies and shows and documentaries as you want. So they can go to that thing and download movies and put it on the tablet or the phones, and they can basically keep that on the go. When they get in the car, they can still be watching movies or watching the shows from the car. So this thing called DVD is completely a thing of the past. To the point where you're going to buy a car with DVD player. They say, "But Daddy, what is a DVD? I have no use of a DVD." That's what she said to me. She said, "Daddy, things have evolved so much, I don't even know what a DVD is." So this younger generation, they are telling us that, you know what, the brain is constantly evolving. The brain is constantly rewiring itself. The brain of someone born before 2010 is different from the brain of someone born after 2010. Number one. Number two, the brain of someone born after 2000 is different from the brain of someone born in the 1990s, 1980s, 1970s, 1960s. Even most of the world are an exception, because he went to great length to rewire his brain, to figure out exactly how to master this thing called technology. So he has been in sync with the evolution of technology, whereas most people, as a matter of fact, here's a funny story. I'm going to get to the chat very quickly. Here's a funny story. The other day I was watching a video from a friend of mine who's come from Nigeria, and she has relocated, I believe it was Canada or the US, and she made a video, and the video was simply saying, she's talking to the people who are still living back home. She's talking to them and simply says, yes, before considering relocation, before relocating to certain parts of the world, like the western part of the world, you have to consider certain things. You have to consider upgrading your skills. Because in Africa, where she comes from, people can go to school and go to master's level without having a certain level of computer literacy that the Western world, the people living in the Western world are going to have, because they can go to school and study everything, and from time to time only using the computer to basically do the work, to report and send it to the teacher, or print something and give it to the teacher. Whereas in this part of the world, people are basically expecting to be using the internet, to be using the computer, to be using the devices to access what the teacher is feeding them, number one, and to communicate back and forth with the teacher. So by the time they become employable or ready to be sent to the market to look for a job, the employers expect them to know certain basic things such as Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, so on and so forth. Whereas in other parts of the world, PowerPoint is basically, oh my goodness, what is this? I'm talking to my baby, she's very young girl. She knows how to use PowerPoint. And I said, but at your age, I had no idea that there was in the thing called computer. Computer, when I was growing up, was basically a big device that used to be in my dad's bank. My dad used to work for the bank. He used to come tell us that, yes, at my bank, there's a big giant thing that actually produces, we feed it data and it gives us a batch of paper, and this thing is called a computer. We used to say, oh my goodness, what is this? One day I would like to see, because it says, no, it's very impressive, it's gigantic, and so on and so forth. That was back in the days. But whereas now, the kids are saying, well, technology, I have access to a computer, I have access to a laptop, I have access to a tablet, so on and so forth, to the point where my daughter the other day was asking me, Daddy, when you were growing up, how many devices did you have? I said, but my daughter, when I was growing up, the devices were not something you own, it was something that you share. Number one, the device you share was basically called a TV station. And the TV station was feeding you things. It was supposed to feed you at very specific times. You know that at 8 o'clock, it's time to go watch the news. Before that, it's basic entertainment. Your cartoon will come, let's say, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 2:30. And after that, no more cartoon. So if you miss that, basically, you miss the cartoon for the day. Then you have to go play and come back. Whereas now, the kids can have access to the cartoon basically 24/7. Dad can wake up and have access to the news 24/7. You can feed yourself as much news as possible until you go completely drunk with news. And this is the gap between our generation before 2000 and the generation coming after us, because the brain is evolving to the point where now they are seeing things that we never actually saw before. But in this evolution, there's a part of the brain that never actually changed, which is simply called the amygdala. The amygdala, which simply controls your ability to respond to danger by either choosing to go fight or flight, is something that's always been there. And I'm going to get back to that. Let me just say hello to people online here. Yes. Oh, I'm loving you guys. I so love you. So I have in the house, Chinua TV is in the house again. My goodness. Let me just slow down to acknowledge Chinua TV. Thank you very much for being such an amazing supporter of Mountain of Inspiration. I have also in the house my family, all the way from the United States of America, kicking it with the roots as well. Thank you very much for being. I so appreciate you. I also have in the house a minister by the name of Nancy Parent Ministries. Woman of God, thank you very much for being here. I so appreciate you. You've gone out of way to come support me. I so appreciate you. I also have in the house my family. I call her family because she used to live in Canada and now she decided to relocate to America, but she's still family to me. Charlene Hill TV is here now. Thank you very much for being here. I so appreciate you. Oh my goodness. So please bear with me. Please bear with me. Yeah, so let me just do what I do best here. Please bear with me. I hope that everyone is actually having a great day, right? And you're actually enjoying this presentation. Again, as I was saying, yes, you will go to certain circle, they will say to you that, yes, God has not given us the spirit of fear. God has not given us the spirit of fear, which is true. He has not given us the spirit of fear. But does it mean that fear is not natural? Does it mean that fear is something unnatural? And that's what I'm trying to actually discuss with you right now. Why am I trying to discuss that with you right now? Because when you look at the structure of the body, more specifically, the structure of the brain. You're going to come to realize that whether you are a Christian or a non-Christian, whether you are a believer or non-unbeliever, we all have access to the same structure as far as the brain is concerned. And as far as the brain is concerned, whether you were born before 2000 or after 2000, there's always going to be a part of your brain that's going to be always referred to as the amygdala, because this part of the brain has no change, and it's part of what scientists call the ancient brain. Because from the very beginning of time up until now, this part of the brain has always been there. The structure of the brain has simply reformatted itself from time to time based on what we are feeding into the brain, but this part of the brain has always remained there. And what is that one key thing? It's simply called the amygdala. Yes, thank you very much for being here again. Wellness with Frugal Mama, family all the way from America. Thank you very much for being here. And welcome back to your own state. And I hope you're not going to be going back to Texas soon, because Texas is the land of big. Everything they do over there is, of course, big. Big portion, big everything. So I'm glad you were able to find that for yourself. But welcome back, and thank you very much for being here with me for this live. Yeah, so again, this part of the brain has always been there. It's the ancient brain, it's the amygdala. And when you look at the amygdala, one key thing you're going to realize is that it controls your ability to respond to fear. And as I was saying yesterday, when you look at this thing called fearlessness, you're going to realize quickly that there's no such thing as someone being completely fearless. Someone actually living on a daily basis from a place of being, I'm expressing fearlessness on, it's almost impossible. Because we all have access to this thing called amygdala, but we choose to respond to the stimulus or the stimuli of fear differently. You can basically learn how to manage your responses to fear based on what I simply call gradual exposure to that one key thing that makes you fearful. That's how we come to live in a place of, I would simply call, of limited or relative fearlessness. But you're not simply going to remove that ability to be scared because, oh yeah, no, it's impossible. You simply learn how to manage your response to being fearful. And that's something key that we have to understand, even as people going to come to simply say, yes, God has not given you a spirit of fear. No, what they're saying is, the spirit of fear is simply basically saying that, yes, I'm now going to embrace fear or the responses to fear as my only filter in life. So wherever I'm going to go, I'm simply going to be fearful. I choose to remain fearful. So whatever is happening before me, I'm going to choose to simply say, yes, I'm going to run. I'm going to fly. I'm going to fly. I'm going to run. I'm not even going to fight because I choose to even ignore the fact that when the amygdala is stimulated, you have two responses. You can either run away or you can fight. So when you choose to simply say the only response I'm going to have, the default response I'm going to have to simply run away, you're simply telling your brain that, yes, I'm going to be now operating from the filter of being fearful. And that's a spirit that basically simply saying that, spiritually speaking, the only place I'm going to be comfortable as far as my life is concerned is this dungeon called fear. So I'm going to refuse that there's another possibility out there for me to go out there and give a different response. I'm going to simply say to myself that the only acceptable answer I can give to any situation that can be scary is to simply be scared. And that's basically what this scripture is talking about. The scripture is simply saying, your maker, if you're Christian, your maker, your father has not given you that as the only option. He has given you a different option. You can either choose to be there and to simply be scared, or you can also look at the open door and simply say, yes, there's also another response you can give as far as this thing is concerned. You can choose to come out of this dungeon and go out there and simply fight like a woman, like a girl, or like a man, and like a boy. You can fight, because when I say like a woman, like a girl, I mean it, because my mom, she was a fighter. My mom, she was a fighter. So when I say a woman fight like a woman, I'm not trying to be dismissive or anything, because my mom, she knew how to stand her ground. If something was actually not going away, she knew how to stand her ground. She may have been petite, but she knew how to basically open her up and say, no, this does not make sense. So when I say fight like a woman, this is the response. This is the image I have in my mind of someone as a woman who has the ability to simply say, no, this is nonsense. So when a fearful or when it's a scary situation comes to you, you have to right to simply say, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be scared, this is the only response, or I'm going to simply give myself permission to walk away and go out there and respond how I choose to respond. Oh my goodness. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. EK Media is in the house. Thank you very much for being here. My goodness. Plan Your One Life. Thank you very much for being here. I so appreciate all of you. Yes. Also, we have Texas in the house. I'm reading. Oh, as a matter of oh, I'm so sorry. This was not a put down. As a matter of fact, Pastor I'm reading. I know you're in Texas, but this was not a put down. It is what it is. Texans love to do things in a big way. As a matter of fact, what this crisis is actually going in America when it comes to the dollar in America. People are saying the dollar is collapsing and so on and so on and so forth. There's only one state in America, talking about, yes, how can we possibly go on to start printing our own currency? And that state is, of course, Texas, because they love to do things different, and they love to. This is how I love to describe them. They love to go big or to go home. So in Texas, you either have to be big or to simply be a nobody. So when the rest of the world go to Texas, we are sometimes challenged, because we are sometimes jolted to see that these people love to do everything in a big way. You go to the restaurant, big sizes, big portion. You go to the home, big homes, big everything. You go to the driveway, big car, big everything. You go to the properties, big everything. You go to listen to them, big talk, big everything. Big mind, big result. And this is why I love you guys. So it's not a put down, it's just my way of simply highlighting how you do things differently. Oh, thank you very much. So again, yes. Plan Your One Life. Thank you very much for being here. EK Media, thank you very much for being here. Charlie, in you, of course, you rock. Yeah, so please, making sure you connect with one another, and also like the video so YouTube know that we're delivering great value. And at one point, I'm gonna go to actually share your link so that people know exactly how to get a hold of it. Just give me like a few minutes, 5 minutes so far. Yes, as I was saying. So when you read this document, this holy book known as the Bible, and it says to you, God has not given you the spirit of fear. It's simply saying that, yes, He has not given you fear as the only option. Because if and when you choose to actually look at fear as basically the only response, you choose to simply say that, yes, I am not going to be operating from a spirit of fear. I'm not going to choose. I'm choosing to believe that fear is the only acceptable answer in the face of danger. And you're simply going to discount that, yes, I am also made in the image of God. But not only that, as I am here, I'm going to say something that may sound controversial to you, but it is also in the book called the Holy Book, the Bible. You are God. As a matter of fact, someone said, don't say it. I didn't say it. He said it. There was a gentleman by the name of Jesus. He came, he started walking and started talking to people. And at one point, it was so challenging because people simply say, you are talking foolishness. You are talking big, like a Texan. Are you a Texan? He said, no, I'm not a Texan. I'm simply coming from a different place. They said, please. So what kind of place is this? He simply says, he started challenging them. He was having conversation with Pharisees. At one point, he said to them, don't you know that you are God? But yet, you are choosing to live like less than human, like subhuman. Don't you know that you are God? You can decree a thing and it can come to pass. Don't you know that in the face of danger, you have two responses. You can choose to be fearful, or you can choose to be simply mighty and show me simply say, no, I'm going to do things differently. And of course, all these Pharisees, they took offense and said, oh my goodness, look at this crazy man. What kind of nonsense is he talking about now? So it is also in the same book called the Bible. So you are God. You are God. You can say this, I'm a woman. You are a goddess. You are God. Because in you, there is what I would simply call the God factor. You were made in image of God. So because God cannot operate from the spirit of fear, so this is why you cannot be operating from the spirit of fear, because you are given greater ability to choose to either be fearful or to simply go out there to be fearless. So the option is always there. So you can choose to go life or to go death or to go life. So choosing to go life is simply. So I'm going to show up with boldness. So again, this is the first thing I had to debunk as far as this concept of fear is concerned. So when you hear someone say to you again, he has not given you a spirit of fear, you have to simply say, yes, I hear where you're coming from, but it's also natural for me to be exposed to this thing called fear, because fear is natural. Because when you look at the brain of every single human being is made of this one key thing. It's the one key thing is called the ancient brain, or the amygdala, and the amygdala works in all of us, whether you are Christian or non-Christian, whether you are believer or non-believer. So everyone has this thing called amygdala. And because God himself created us, and because he put that in us, so he knows that of course it is there. It's part of the emotion supposed to express. So you can simply say, oh no, it's not there. It's there for everyone. But I would choose to respond to the responses of the amygdala. That's when basically we have to pay attention. So you simply have to pay attention and say, yes, I'm acknowledging right now I'm scared. So whatever I'm going through right now is scary. But I'm going to choose to simply show up with boldness, to show up with love towards me and the people around me. I'm going to choose to simply show up and simply say, yes, I'm going to show up and choose a different response as opposed to just being scared in my own corner. I'm going to show up in all my might as opposed to just being grounded because I feel that this thing is going to kill me. And that's one key thing I had to address very quickly. Number two, let me address another key thing as well. Oh my goodness, let me just slow down. Yes. The champion in the chat by the name of EKK Media is simply saying the following. God said himself, let's create man in our image and likeness. That's why we are able to create things in our image and likeness. As a matter of fact, I'm not here to preach you because I'm not here as a preacher. I'm here simply as a mountain of inspiration. A man was simply on fire about seeing you just propel to your next level or dimension as far as your journey to wealth creation is concerned, more specifically personal branding. So, but when we look at what my brother just said right now, let's create man in our own image and likeness. What he's saying is that, yes, the DNA of God is within you. So when I say to you that you are perfection made flesh, I'm telling you as well that yes, the DNA, so the DNA of God is within you. So you are perfection made flesh. But what happens is from time to time is we simply go through the elephant gaming process that I was mentioning yesterday. So that's why I keep saying you have to study yourself to show yourself approved, because if you don't study yourself, just know how the people are studying you. They're studying you through your cell phone. They're studying it to your what you call smartphone. So whatever choices you make on your smartphone, today I'm going to choose to watch this, I'm going to choose to listen to, I'm going to choose to do this. Your phone is recorded, and out there the organization studying your behavior so they can build a profile of who you are, and based on this profile they're going to be sending more things similar to that to strengthen the condition of the profile they've actually been able to establish for yourself. So if you want a different reality, you simply have to study yourself, buy yourself a book, pen and paper, a journal, and start studying yourself. So looking at how you respond to certain things. And with that, you're going to come to realize, yes, I'm not so and so, I'm actually different. And based on that, you're going to go on to simply remodel your life and to do something completely different. Because if you don't do that, what's going to happen is you're going to come to what I simply called yesterday, the elephant taming process. So a bunch of circus owners back in the day simply says, yes, we have come to realize that whenever we actually put together circuses and we go around town, we bring elephants, we attract quite a big crowd. But the elephant can be unpredictable because given the size, they can be very unpredictable. One day they can be friendly, next day they can be very unfriendly. So how about we find a way to simply condition them to always be friendly toward us? So someone comes to the table and simply say, I've noticed that the brain is a very plastic or very flexible organ. And the brain of the elephant happens to be very good when it comes to memories. How about we start studying how the baby elephant actually operates in the world? And start seeing if we can actually cause the baby elephant to believe certain things about what we want the baby elephant to believe, and see how long this thing is going to last as far as this one particular elephant is going to be concerned. So someone says, so how about we go out there and we find a rope and a stick, and we find this rope and put this rope simply around this baby elephant's neck. Oh, what they did is the following. You say, how about we go out there and we found a rope, and we put the rope around the baby elephant's neck. They did this. So we're gonna put a rope, and we're gonna put the rope around the baby's elephant neck, and we're gonna attach it to a stick, and we're gonna say to the baby elephant, so please stay here, baby. It's a tiny stick. And the baby elephant simply says, oh, I'm tiny, so I can't move. I can't move. So this is my reality. So the extent of my freedom is basically all I'm seeing around. I can't move. And guess what? As the elephant is actually growing, of course, the size of this thing needs to grow because elephant is becoming too big for this. But the elephant's brain is actually now conditioned to believe that whatever small stake that they are attached to is actually strong enough to hold them. So as the big, gigantic elephant is now tied to that piece of wood that it can just break free from by doing this, the elephant is now conditioned to believe that this is the extent of my freedom. So if I want to be free, I have to wait for quote unquote my master to come untie me so I can go on to move around. Until the master comes to untie me, I'm still tied here and I'm completely as weak and powerless as the rest of the animals. I'm weak as powerless as the tigers in the cage that are tied. I'm weak as powerless as the monkey who's also tied. I am weak as powerless as the dog that's also tied. I am just as weak and powerless as the rest of them. But what the elephant doesn't realize is that the sheer size of who you are, you can break free and you can actually go on to deliver or to set free all other animals. But because the elephant has been now conditioned to believe that yes, the size of the being has nothing to do with their ability to break free, the elephant will remain there. And the same thing happened to us because we come to go by the conditioning that we see in the world. And this conditioning simply causes us to believe that yes, I am less than. I cannot go on to own a Rolls Royce. I cannot go on to own a Bentley. I cannot go on to own Lamborghinis. I cannot go on to own mansion. I cannot go on to fly twice a year, private jet with my family and friends. I cannot do that. I cannot own a summer house in California. I can't do that. I cannot home a winter home in California. I can't do that. I cannot home a summer house in South Africa. I can't do that. I have to stick to one location, one place, and that's the extent of my life. And I have to stay there until I die. And my children, and their children are going to come to realize that we are all tied to this particular place, and there's a tie, there's this big rope attached to our necks that's causing us to simply live life this one particular way, and we can break free because we are stuck and we are choking. But the reality is, you are made in the image of God. You are made in the likeness of God. So this, whatever situation seems to be tying you, you can simply do this, and it's completely off. And this is why you have to study yourself. This is why you have to study yourself. My goodness, let me just slow down and say also to my family here. Oh, a rise shine within God. Thank you very much for being here. Mama Nelka LG GTV, thank you very much for being here. Yes. Thank you very much, EK Media, for agreeing with me. Latoya Daly, thank you very much. The one and only, what I call the boss lady. The boss lady is here. Thank you very much. I so appreciate you, as you already know. Yes. The Blog's father, paranormal investigation, is also here. Grand rising to you too. I hope you're well. Yes, that's fine. Please, EK Media saying he's watching the video in the background. It's okay as long as you're here. I'm good with that. Thank you very much for sharing me out, kicking it with the works. Thank you. I so appreciate you. You have to go. It's okay. It's okay. Oh my goodness, we also have in the house, Legacy Moment is in the house. Thank you very much for being in the house. Everyone please say hello to Legacy Moment. Thank you very much. Yes, so as I was saying, because we are conditioned to believe that, that we are powerless. The elephant is conditioned to believe it's just as powerless as the monkeys, as the donkey. The elephant now grows up to believe it's just as powerless as the donkey. This is so funny. This is why you have to study yourself. The elephant grows up. The elephant grows big. The elephant is actually much more bigger. It's much bigger than the donkey. But the elephant somehow believe that the same rope they're gonna use to put around his neck to tie him up is gonna be strong enough to keep him there, just as it's actually keeping the donkey beside him in bondage. So the elephant goes on to be that the extent of my ability to perform in this society is conditioned by my master coming to simply give me a moment of freedom. So until and unless the master gives me a moment of freedom, I'm tied to this thing, I can move. And this is why you have to simply go back to start studying yourself, because you're going to come to realize that yes, you are made in the image of God. You are made after his likeness. You actually, you carry within you the DNA of perfection, the DNA of ultimate power. You have the ability to 10x your life anytime you want and wherever you want. And that's really key. Going back to our presentation, when it comes to the ability to live in a place of fearlessness, as I was saying yesterday, no one can say I'm fearless, because fear is something that actually ingrained in us through the brain in this thing called amygdala. And I went to a great session yesterday to also explain to you that yes, in 1968 there was this scientist, American scientist. He decided one day to leave America, not to leave where he was, and to go to this part of America known as Puerto Rico. Cayo Santiago in Puerto Rico. So he go to Cayo Santiago in Puerto Rico in 1968. He says, based on his studies of the brain, of the human brain, he knows that we share many similarities with things like with animals like the donkey and the monkeys. So he's going to go to the jungles of Cayo Santiago in Puerto Rico. He's going to go over there and look for wild monkeys. He's going to capture a few wild monkeys and he's going to bring them to captivity, and he's going to perform an operation that he himself knows how to do, because he's also a scientist. He knows how to operate the brain. He brings them to captivity, and he breaks open the skull and he go into the brain, and he actually removes this thing that actually give them permission or the ability to be controlled by the amygdala. So he removed the fear factor out of the brain. So he removed the amygdala, the part of the brain that actually causes the brain to respond a certain way when it comes to fear or when it comes to danger. After a few weeks of healing, he releases the same monkeys into the wilderness. Simply say, now, my friends, you are free to go now. So the monkey, of course, they say, oh yeah, now we are free, we can go. So the monkey start going and he start tracking them. And he realizes, I made a mistake here because actually 14 days, and he realized within 2 weeks, within 14 days, all the monkeys were dead. They were deleted. They were completely extinct. And what happened to them was completely interesting. Because they went back into the wilderness, and some of them decided to actually starve themselves to death because they did not understand that, yes, the part of the brain that are supposed to let them know, yes, you're supposed to eat because your brain needs food, it was not actually responding anymore. Number one. Number two, some of them simply believed that they could go in the water and learn how to swim. They would go into the water. The crocodile of Puerto Rico simply said, oh my goodness, what an easy meal. This must be manna. So I'm seeing a bunch of monkeys jumping into the water, into the river. It calls different says, Mr. and Mrs. Crocodile, my neighbors, my friends, my enemies. Let's get together towards this piece of the part of the river. Let's go there, because there seem to be a bunch of monkeys jumping in the water, and when they come into the water, they realize they can swim. So this is easy prey for us. They went after the monkeys, they ate, they devoured all of them. The monkeys in the wilderness, they simply became fearless because they did not understand. The brain was not responding. They will see a wild animal like the snake. They will get close to the snake because they want to pet the snake, because, oh, beautiful snake, oh, beautiful. The snake said, what kind of foolishness is it? Since when monkey is supposed to be petting a snake like me? My goodness, let me just strangle this monkey and give myself a breakfast this morning. And that's what we're doing. So within 14 days, all the monkeys were completely dead. Dr. Arthur King said to himself, this may be a one-off. In 1968, let me now go into Africa. Let me go to this country known as Zambia. Let me go to the jungle in Zambia to see if I can actually reproduce the same experiment. He goes to Zambia, and he goes and he finds a bunch of monkeys, and he brings them to captivity, and he performs the same operation. He breaks open the skulls, and he goes into the brain and removes the amygdala from the brain, and he calls them to simply remove the fear factor from the brain. And he releases them into the wilderness. But for him, for the monkeys, unfortunately, the jungles of Africa, they are full of all kinds of different wilder animals. If Puerto Rico was actually a tame experiment, because Puerto Rico, they don't have access to as many wild animals as in Africa. In Africa, the wilderness was actually full of all kinds of different crazy and wild animals. As soon as it releases these animals, the same monkeys, into the wilderness, within less than 1 week, 7 days, all of them were gone. Because the monkeys in Africa said to themselves they could now go on, because they're not scared anymore. They could now go on to go say hello to the leopard. The leopard said, "But what kind of craziness is this?" Of course, you know what happens. They go to the pride of lions. They see a bunch of lions just lying around, just minding their own business. They go and say, "Oh, Mr. Lion, oh, today is a beautiful day. How are you?" And they want to come say hello, give the lion high five. The lion simply say, "What kind of nonsense is this? I mean, this is food for me. Food is coming to me, trying to play with me. Let me just teach them a lesson, because if I let this monkey give me a high five in front of all these people that are supposed to be respecting me as the king of the jungle, so respect will be gone. So let me just make an example of this." Until they do that. So the monkeys were instead within 7 days. Why? Because when the fear factor was removed from the brain, the monkey could not survive, to simply illustrate the fact that as far as we are concerned, the fear factor is always there because it is embedded in our DNA. It is embedded in our brain. Number one. But if you think that the amygdala is the only organ in the brain that controls the fear and that we have in our brain, nothing could be further from the truth. Let me just prove it to you. A few years after that, there was another gentleman, another scientist by the name of Feinstein. So Feinstein. Dr. Justin Feinstein simply says, I've observed, so please stay with me, please bear with me, give me just 2 minutes, please bear with me. He said, I've observed to this thing called nature that this is how things go. I've observed that this thing called plants, they inhale this thing called carbon dioxide. So the plants around your home, they inhale carbon dioxide. And when they exhale what thing called oxygen. And oxygen is what we need. We, on the other hand, men and women, what we do is we inhale oxygen. And when we exhale, we exhale carbon dioxide. It's very easy. I mean, you can look it up. So let me just speak slowly. So the plants, they inhale carbon dioxide and they exhale oxygen. We, on the other hand, we inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. But he has come to realize that through his experiment, from time to time, we need the carbon dioxide, more of it in our body in order for us to regulate certain things. But he come to realize as well that putting together a device that's going to give you more carbon dioxide in the body to actually inhale can actually cause something in the brain to respond as if you're being suffocated. So what he does is he start conducting experiment because they want to know exactly how we're going to respond to being actually fed more carbon dioxide in the body, and how this can actually be broken down to laymen so they can understand that from time to time you need more carbon dioxide, and we're going to also help you deal with something that will be triggering in your brain when it comes to a sense of actually being suffocated. So that was his experiment. So beside that, there was also something crazy happening in the world. 2 cases in the world. There was one case in America. This girl came to be known as SM. SM was a simple young girl. And as a young girl, she was born with a situation. There were basically cell in her bodies that were actually causing manifestation of actually fat all over the place. And as this cell were actually, the mutating cell were actually moving within the body, they reached the brain. And as they reached the brain, they rewired something. And they removed the amygdala. And as the amygdala was actually removed from this person's brain, this young girl, who came to be identified as SM, she would now be the epitome of fearlessness. She will go into the community and do things without being scared. There'll be a thunderstorm outside. She'll be going outside with a tea. People say, "Oh, neighbor, how are you?" There'll be a hurricane outside. She'll be going outside wanting to actually play soccer. There'll be something crazy happening out there. She'll be out there basically acting as if nothing was happening. People keep saying, "But this is dangerous." And of course, this led to some very crazy situation. At one point as she's growing up, One day she's minding her own business. A gentleman is driving by in a truck. She says, "Oh, I see a young girl who seems to be completely lost as far as direction is concerned. So let me just accost her and see if she can come with me." He goes to her, and the girl says, "Yeah, I'll come with you." She goes in the pickup truck, but this guy had some crazy idea in his mind. He wanted to actually go take advantage of her. So he takes her to an abandoned farm that he thinks it was actually abandoned. He wants to take advantage of this young girl. And this young girl is basically completely undressed and completely, undressed. And he, of course, is undressed. He wants to lay on top of her. And as he wants to do that, he hears outside that there's a dog coming. Simply says, "Oh, if there's a dog coming, chances are some people are around. They're going to come see me here, trying to take advantage of this woman. They're going to bring me to the authorities. I'm going to be now turned to the justice system, and I'm going to be eventually charged." So say no. He gets up, he puts his clothes back together, and he pretends that nothing was happening. And he leaves the farm. He leaves the barn. So as he's leaving the barn, the girl also dresses herself back, and she follows him. And she goes after him. She simply said to him, "Could you please bring me back where you found me?" And the guy was completely puzzled as to what had happened. She goes home and she tells the story to her friends and family. They say, "But this is crazy. This guy was taking advantage of you." He said, "No, it's no big deal." So this girl, so she became a case of fearlessness, to a point where eventually Dr. Justin Feinstein simply says, I heard that there's a woman basically was actually fearless. So we're going to bring her into our labs and expose her to our experiment. We're going to give her a dose of carbon dioxide and to see how she's going to respond, because her amygdala has been removed. To bring her to the laboratory, and as they bring her to the laboratory, they explain to her, "Yes, as we're going to feed you carbon dioxide, you're going to respond in a sort of, you're going to be scared." The girl, SM, look at them, she starts smiling. She said, "But I've never experienced this thing called fear in my life before. So I've seen crazy movies, scary movies. I've been exposed to crazy situations, and I've never experienced this thing called fear." And because you know why? Because part of my brain that's called, here's the funny thing. Let's say we're going to put that in on your face, and this mask is, one, you're going to start sensing the carbon dioxide. Oh, sorry, what's happening here? When you're gonna start sensing the carbon dioxide, you're gonna feel like you're actually losing your life. You're gonna feel suffocating. So they explained that to her. But as soon as they put the mask on her, guess what happened? She's starting screaming. I'm not trying to actually reproduce what happened a few years ago in America. But instead speaking like George Floyd, simply said, I can't breathe. Please take this off." They removed the mask, and they realized that for the very first time in her life, she had experienced this one key thing called fear. And they came to realize, even when you believe that the amygdala is removed, there's always a piece of the brain that's still there responsible for this thing called fear, because fear is your ability to simply make the right decision in certain situations that can be crucial or detrimental to you. And that's how I simply came to lay everything to her, to simply say, yes, fear is there, but we simply learn how to manage fear, and that's the one key thing that simply differentiates us from the rest of the people. And as you manage fear, you simply go on to become a leader, the type of leader that your community is looking for as far as what you do is concerned. That was number one. Let me just do that still to family again here. Yes, I see people here. I have Toya and No Toya Life Hacks. Thank you very much for being here. Nana Foodies, thank you very much for being here. Oh my goodness. Yes, I'm live. I'm live. Toya and No Toya Life Hacks, I'm live. You are live here. Thank you very much. It's not the premiere, it's a live. Thank you very much. Yes. I have also Joel Amen TV was in the house. Everyone say hello to Joel Amen TV is in the house. Yes. I also have the Bad Fuzz in the house. Everyone say hello to the Bad Fuzz in the house. Yes, I'm here, and I'm glad you enjoyed this conversation as well. Latoya Darling. So this was the first thing. As far as fear is concerned, with this thing called the brain, the amygdala, and I went on to explain to you how Dr. Arthur King in 1968 and 1970 did this experiment with the monkeys, and eventually Justin Feinstein went on to simply explain that even when you remove this part of the brain called amygdala, there's still a piece of the brain that's responsible for this crucial act, which is simply fear. So fear is definitely something that is ingrained in us. No one can say to you, I'm fearless, because if you say that, you simply say that your brain is actually structured differently, which is never the case, because your brain, no matter what you do, there's always going to be an element of your brain that's going to cause you to remember that, yes, you have to be scared. And as you are scared, you simply have to learn now to make a decision to simply, yes, walk away because you have the ability to go fight or to simply stay in place. And so when this book, this holy book called the Bible, simply says that God has not given you the spirit of fear. It's simply, the book is simply saying that, yes, God, the book is not saying that you don't have the amygdala in your brain. That's not what the book is saying. It's simply saying that the response to fear, the response to fear is that you have to remember that you don't have to live your life controlled by fear, because when you live your life controlled by fear, you simply saying to yourself that yes, fear is the only filter I'm going to have. So basically, I'm going to accept that there is now a rope attached to my neck, and this rope is controlling me. So everything I do is through the filter of fear, because I'm bound here. So fear is the only way for me to live my life, and that's not the case. That's not the case. So that's one thing I wanted to actually debunk for you very quickly. So that was the first key thing that a leader must develop when it comes to being able to lead people as far as life is concerned. So you have to learn to manage your fears. So fear is absolutely natural, organic, and sometimes even necessary in order for you to be able to make the right decision. Let me just digress for a little bit here. In the example of this woman, I gave you SM because the books of science never gave us a full name. But if you can go on to research this guy, Justin Feinstein, as a doctor, you're going to see that, yes, his work is there speaking to how the amygdala regulates, help us regulate certain situations, and how the amygdala never quite really go away, because even when his finger have removed everything, there's always going to be a piece of the amygdala that's going to be attached to the brain to let you know that, yes, now they're trying to take away your ability to now breathe, and that's something key. So this is the reason why, for example, when George Floyd was actually dying and people say, I can't breathe, that was his brain now basically responding. People says, danger, 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 danger. There's something that's causing you to simply lose breath. So that was the highest place of danger. And of course, we know how this story ended. So fear is absolutely necessary. So now let's move to the second piece of my presentation, which is basically, oh my goodness, to come from a place of fear when you're depressed, when you're scared, and to actually be able to now go on to develop what I call authenticity. Second aspect of a crucial presentation as a leader in the times of change. Yes, and for this one, I'm just going to use an example first of all. June 7, 1958, as I mentioned to you a few days ago, was born in America this young man that came to be known as Prince Nelson Rogers. So as he was born, by 1963, he realized quickly that he was born into a family of musicians. His mom and dad used to love music so much that they had instruments all over the place, and the house was full of all kinds of different music. One day he goes to a place where his dad was performing, and when he sees how people responding to his dad's music, he says, oh, I want to become a musician. But he goes on, unlike Mozart, who was actually trained by his father, Leopold Mozart, how to play piano. Then Prince Nelson Rogers, he goes and says, I'm going to teach myself how to play piano. He taught himself how to play piano, and he became very good at it. And he goes on to tell us that I'm going to be a professional musician. That's simple. It's okay. This is our DNA. If you want to actually go on to become a musician, you are free to actually go to become a musician. And that was 1963. 1965, the young man says, I'm going to go on to learn as many instruments as possible. So he goes on to learn on his own 26 other instruments. So basically to master 27 instruments. 1968, unfortunately for him, so 5 years later, his mom and dad got a separate way, divorced, nasty divorce. But before the divorce, the brain is now traumatized. His amygdala is now very activated. Why? Because as his mom and dad are fighting in the house, the physical fight was such that as they're fighting, mom and dad are fighting, basically in the living room, the young boy in the bed can hear that mommy and daddy are fighting. But the fight will reach a place that where mommy has to run away from daddy and come into his bedroom. And mommy comes to Prince Nelson Rogers, and says, my son, please protect me. And she comes and she embraces Prince, and she says, yeah, please protect me. Because what she's saying into her mind is that if I can hold this young boy as a shield, this father, even though he's furious, he's completely out of his mind, is simply going to see my son is going to be, his own son is simply going to stop. And that's exactly what used to happen. But as this is happening, Prince, of course, is frightened. He says, but my goodness, my dad, I can see the look of fury in his eye. I can see that he's beyond fury. He's basically mad. So what kind of madness is this? to see that someone who gave birth to me is wanting to hurt the person through whom I came to this world. So it's completely paralyzed and his brain is so overactivated, it's not funny. First trauma. They go a separate way and mom decided to get remarried and Prince started living with mommy. As Prince is living with mommy and his father, his stepfather, they have another son. Omar come to the world. And very quickly, Omar becomes the darling of the family. And Prince is basically the rejected son. And of course, this doesn't go very well. To the point where, from time to time, second trauma, Prince has to be shipped to his father and back and forth because they're trying to find a place of stability for the young man that's also been traumatized. At one point, he goes to live with his dad almost on a semi-permanent basis. So as he's living there, something crazy happened. One day, dad and son get into an argument. And dad simply says, no, there can be two lions in the same pride. There can be two male dominant lions in the same pride. I am the alpha here. You are not the alpha. So if you don't want to do things according to my rule, I'm going to kick you out. So father decided to kick the young boy out and they say, no, take your stuff, go away. So as Prince is now standing in the backyard and the neighbor hear that yes, Prince is being kicked out, the neighbor simply says, Prince, come here, come live with us. So second trauma, and they start living with them. And from that point, between 1960 and 1970, Prince simply comes to a point, simply say, yes, I am drunk with pain. I am so drunk with pain, it's not funny. My brain is so overactivated when it comes to my fears, it's not funny. But I'm going to choose a different response to the thing I'm getting from my amygdala. I'm going to simply choose to simply walk out of this dungeon of fear. I'm going to go out there and lose myself in the music. He goes there, he started writing music like a madman. I was completely possessed. He started writing music like a madman. So he gave me some permission to simply be exposed to the fear and simply look fear in the eye and simply say, but I'm going to simply go on to actually embrace music as my outlet out of this thing. He does that. 1978 comes, Prince decided to release his first album that we're going to actually be released under his first name, which was simply Prince. So the album, I believe, was called Prince for You, and that was an album that just did phenomenally well. Why? Because within 3 years of the album being released, there was a group in the UK by the name of the Rolling Stone, led by the crazy and absolutely audacious gentleman by the name of Sir Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger happens to hear the album, simply say, this is good music. This is good. This is as revolutionary as the music I used to come and listen to from Jamaica by the name of Bob Marley. So I'm interested in this. So he called Prince. He says, yes, you live in Minneapolis. He said, I live in Minneapolis. But guess what? I'm coming to America for a few gigs. I would like for you to actually come and be the opening gig for us somewhere in America. Prince says, of course, I'll be delighted. You are established as a musician. You want me to come perform for you as the opening gig? Of course I will do that. So they say, let's just set the date. We're going to meet in 1981 in LA at the LA Coliseum. So come and be basically the opening gig for us. Prince comes, and of course Prince dresses like the way Prince does used to do, in a very provocative way. He comes and started performing. Of course, I told you the story before. Dramatic ending because people didn't like him and they wanted basically to boo him off the stage, and they started throwing things at the stage. To the point where the manager had to step in and say, Prince, we have to go. Third trauma. He goes on, he flies back to Minneapolis. Mick Jagger calls him and say, no, you have to come back because this is part of the music that we do. It's bad things about fans, so you have to come back because you have to be exposed to this fear. Because if you run away and you actually start operating from the spirit of fear, you're going to be paralyzed, you're going to be crippled as far as your brain is concerned. So I know it's scary. I know it's scary to be exposed to this kind of level of fear because people are throwing things that you have no clue if they're going to throw maybe a chair or maybe a table, and that will get you paralyzed for the rest of your life. But this is the best that we chose as our livelihood, so you have to come back and perform still in LA. Prince listened to the gentleman, simply say, yes, Sir Mick Jagger, if you decide, yes, I have to come back to perform for you, I'm going to do that. He comes back, and guess what? Unfortunately for him, same reaction, same response, but this time, Prince simply says, I've had enough, my share of fearful situation. I've had enough of my share of traumas. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do what I do best. So I'm going to look fear in the eye. So instead of actually being paralyzed, simply letting this knot that I see around my neck to simply keep me bound here, to believe that I can't do anything, I'm simply going to excuse myself and simply say, Miss or Mr. Fear, it's okay. So let me just step out of the way. I'm going to move from this room because this room is full of fear. I'm going to go outside and choose a different response. I'm going to fight back. I'm going to fight back by simply embracing my work wholeheartedly. I'm going to now immerse myself, or like Eminem would say, I'm going to lose myself in the music. I'm going now to lose myself in the music, and therefore, as a result, I'm going to now see myself differently. I know that now I'm no longer a baby elephant, I'm a big elephant, so therefore, I'm no longer going to be performing opening gigs for anybody, including the Rolling Stones. I'm now going to be the main gig as far as anything is concerned. And of course, that was actually bold in 1981 for him to say that, because he was still a quote-unquote a nobody. But he went and he lost himself in the music. He went and he lost himself in the music. And this is history. And you can go and Google it, because I know what I'm talking about. Because when I study, I study. And when I study, I am into my thing. And when I'm on, I am on. So right now, I am on. So right now, I am on. So I am so on, it's not funny. So I know my stuff. You can Google it for yourself. But I don't need to read that because I know what it is. So in 1981, it says, I am no longer going to be performing as an opening gift for anybody. Even if Bob Marley comes and says, Prince comes, he said, I'm not going to do that. But of course, at the time, Bob Marley was already gone. That was 1981. He passed away in May 1981. So Prince says, I'm no longer going to be performing opening game for anybody. So I'm going to be the main gift, because I'm going to lose myself into my craft. I'm going to be so good at my craft that I'm going to be basically a masterpiece, a living masterpiece as far as music is concerned. To prove it, 3 years later, in 1983, August 1983, he gets together in Minneapolis and people say, I'm going to put together an album. I'm going to put together a concert. And this concert, we're going to call people to come to attend the concert. But the concert will also be an opportunity for us to also record music for the next album. And people come and started performing, and during the live recording, during this live performance, it becomes a live recording, and they start playing song that was going to be released in 1984. And one of the songs was simply called Purple Rain. It was actually played only once. Only once. So no second take needed, because the man had reached a level of mastery as far as the craft was concerned, that there was only need for one shot. They played the song only once, and that's it. The recording was perfect. The engineer was saying, oh my goodness, masterpiece, we got it. And that's it. And people that are present did not know that this was a live recording. Guess what? 1984, the album is actually released. And of course, a tremendous reception, because people say, who is this man? Where's he coming from? And Prince simply goes on to show that, yes, fear was actually paralyzing me. I was actually being paralyzed, because trauma after trauma, I was completely lost when it comes to where to go. But I chose to believe that I was actually a bigger elephant. I was actually free to break free from the stake. Number two. Number three, I chose to lose myself in the music. And as I chose myself in the music, instead of actually being paralyzed by fear, what happened is I came to discover my true self. My true self is, I was right in 1963 when I told my daddy and mom I'm going to be a professional musician. In 1962, Bob Marley at age 17 tell his family, I'm going to be a professional musician. People say, you crazy, you are a nobody, you are uneducated, and you come from Trenchtown. And eventually it went on to make history. Let's just park Bob Marley for now. A year later, in 1963, Prince is telling his parents, I'm going to be a professional musician. And they say, yes, it's possible. But of course, you don't know that it's a very crazy world out there. And he goes on to go through his experiences. And his experiences was also traumatic. And to simply show us one key thing. If you want to really make it big in life, my friend, you have to learn to embrace the pain as the key ingredient that can simply cause you to get to a place where you can actually put that into this thing, this living cell called personal branding. And it's a secret ingredient that's simply going to make the fragrance of your personal branding even much more authentic. Let me just say it slowly again. If you're looking for easy life, my friend, your personal branding will never be authentic. Let me just be straight. If you're looking for an easy life, your personal branding will never be authentic, because it's only the secret ingredient known as pain, that when it's actually mixed with the living cell called personal branding, it was simply giving something absolutely authentic. Someone simply said to me, oh, Dimitri, this is nonsense, this is foolishness, you only talk about music. Music, of course, as a way to actually romanticize life and glamorize life. This is not true. I'll simply say, maybe it's true, but you know what? I know my stuff. And when I speak, I'm on. In 1971, let's just put Prince on the side for the time being. In 1971, in Africa, in South Africa, was actually born a gentleman that came to be known as Elon. Elon was actually born to his family in 1970 in South Africa. He was actually born to a place where people were actually very rambunctious as young people. He goes to school and slowly realized he started being bullied because he was slightly different. People were actually bullying him in 1970 in school, 1970 in school, and Africa was different because if you're bullying or being how can I put it? The teacher actually putting their hands on you to actually correct you. The parent will say, "Oh, Mr. Teacher, oh, Miss Teacher, please don't correct my son. No corporal punishment to my son. No, that's not. No, they will say, oh, it's part of life. So if a kid brings out you bully in school, they're gonna say, oh my goodness, Mr. Principal, what's happening here? So please make this kid stop. No, they're gonna say it's part of life. So as his young was actually being bullied in school, it got to a point where it was so bad that one day he goes to school, the kid decided to actually gang on him and start beating on him. They beat him so badly. So badly, it was such a severe beating that by the time they were done, it was number one, unconscious, number two, he had concussion. So his brain was physically actually traumatized by the experience. He experienced trauma at the highest level. They take him to the hospital. Of course, eventually, he regained consciousness and he realized that, yes, I've been beaten by my friend at school, by the bullies at school, and it was so bad, I lost consciousness, and it was so bad, I have concussions. So they treat him, and eventually they release him to actually go back to the same school. But of course, now they try to keep an eye on all his bullies. So this young man simply said to himself, from that point, he says, I've experienced fear. I've experienced actually trauma at the highest level. But what I'm going to do, I'm not going to lose myself now into the same things that were making fun of me for. I'm going to lose myself now in the books. I'm going to go and lose myself in what I know to do best, which is simply to study. So he went on to study so much and so well that eventually, when he moved to Canada, and from Canada he decided to go to America, like Charlie In, who moved from Canada to America, he goes on to actually put together companies. But as he's putting together his company, he's operating still from the place that, yes, I am to lose myself in my work and not to be paralyzed by fear. And guess what? Eventually, the world came to know him as the gentleman that we know today as Elon Musk. Why? Because he used fear. He used the pain factor. He used the pain factor to put that as a secret ingredient into his personal branding. And when he mixed the two together, it becomes the alchemist that gave us today one of the most magnificent, iconic faces that we have right now when it comes to the world of business. Why? Because he took fear, he looked fear in the eye and simply said, I'm not going to be paralyzed, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose to actually not to operate from the spirit of fear, but to go out there and to lose myself into my music. And as I'm going to lose myself into the music, I'm going to now let the spirit of fear that basically we're trying to put on, I take that as a secret ingredient to put it now into my personal branding. And as I put the two of them together, I'm going to put something magnificent that today will be known as Elon Musk. He's still alive. That's why I'm actually giving the example of Elon Musk in business. But in the world of music, we have this gentleman that came to be known as Prince in 1984. When the album Purple Rain was actually released, it was a masterpiece that simply revolutionized the world of music. Why? Because the man simply says, the music that you're actually hearing, it sounds good to you, but it's a music that's actually written from a place of deep pain. I've actually gone through so much that if I had to put that into words, it would not make sense to you. But these things have actually given me the opportunity now to develop what I simply call meta-cognitive skills. I'm now able to actually use my conscious part of the brain to actually access the thing that basically actually known to people. And now go also to the unconscious part of my brain to use things that's basically not accessible to most people. And when I put the two of them together, it gives me access to inspiration that's completely beyond what people can think or imagine. And this is how I'm going to now come to put together music. And when he put together music, he put it out there. Of course, it was completely amazing. Let me end with one quick story, and that's it for me. A few weeks ago, I was just driving with my daughter and my family around somewhere in Toronto. And as I was driving, my daughter, who happened to be so completely bored, oh my goodness, God bless this young girl. She said to me, Daddy, I see a very expensive place that's selling some very expensive piano. How about we stop and go pay them a visit? I simply say, yeah, but I'm not looking to buy a piano. Plus, this piano looks too big. We don't have space for this kind of piano in the house. She said, Daddy, it's okay. Just trust me. And I said, okay, sure. A young girl shall lead the parents. So I said, okay, young girl, lead the way. we go into this piano store, and of course the gentleman, because the gentleman goes by the charisma of my daughter, not by quote unquote the fear of daddy. Because I was a bit like, okay, I know this thing gonna be cost too much, but I don't intend to buy it, but I don't have the space for it. But my daughter is fearless like that. She's leading the way. So she's going into there, she was asking questions and so on and so forth. And next thing you know, we're now going from looking at piano that costs $10,000 to looking at piano that costs $500,000. I say, this is crazy. Where is this young girl getting the money to actually buy this $500,000 piano? I have no clue, but I'm just going to pretend I'm not here, I'm not hearing anything. But my daughter is very interesting. And the guy, of course, he said to my daughter, said, yeah, a piano is a good investment. You can buy a Bugatti. You can buy a Bugatti, and of course, that will be appreciating with time. And that's what we know. But you can also buy this instrument that can also be appreciating over time, because eventually you can even pass it on as a piece of your legacy to the next generation. Because this piano that costs $500,000 will always be expensive, even 20, 40, 50, 60 years down the road. As a matter of fact, like a good old wine, the older this piano is going to get, the more expensive it's going to be, because the value of this piano will actually be increasing. I was just listening, oh, this is now you caught my attention, I'm not listening. And then it goes on to simply says, he started asking us questions about who we were. Because see, at one point, he started telling, of course, his story. He says, one day, people come to my store, and it says, a gentleman just moved to Bradford Puff, which is a very expensive neighborhood in Toronto, which is basically where this gentleman, known as Drake, lives. They say, before Drake, there was a gentleman from America. He moved to Canada. He got married in Canada, so he was living on Bradford Path. So he moved there, and these people came to my store. They say, our boss would like to buy a piano for you. And the piano is looking for either to recommend X, Y, Z. And of course, the guy said, I can definitely source that. Of course, he's willing to actually put down the down payment, 50%. When I get the order started, they're going to start making the piano for you. And when it's ready, we're going to come deliver the piano to you. Everything's actually signed, so on and so forth. Order is actually taken, delivery comes, and of course it's given the address. It's supposed to go deliver the piano. And when he goes deliver the piano on Bradford Path, that's when he realizes that he was now entering the home of someone absolutely iconic in the world of music. And his name happened to be Prince. And he says, I never met him, but the aura coming from the place was such that you realize that you are now entering the home of someone who knew something about music at the highest level. I was listening to the story and simply say, life is quite a funny way of simply putting the things together in such a beautiful way. Because I was not looking for a story about Prince in Toronto. But this guy said to me, I went into his home to deliver the piano. By the time we're done delivering the piano, we felt like we just came out of a sanctuary, because the spirit of the man was so dominant in the house, and the spirit that was simply of a man who simply knew music at the highest level. And it says, I'm a seasoned musician, but you could sense that you were now going to the home of someone who knew music differently. Let me just end with this story. When a few years ago, what's his name again? Stevie Wonder was actually performing in France, in Paris. I believe Parc des Princes, that's what the place called. He's playing the music. At one point, they said to him, by the way, there's a gentleman from Minneapolis in the crowd. And his name is Prince. Of course, I said, I know Prince. So he's in the crowd. As a matter of fact, he's backstage. You want to come say hello to him. And Stevie want to say, yeah, bring him over. So as they actually getting ready to bring him over, of course, Prince is actually just waiting from just playing one note after the other. And as Prince come, Stevie Wonder is actually playing on piano. But he turns around to actually greet Prince. And as he's done greeting Prince, he's now standing. So the piano is not left unattended. And Prince goes on to now play the piano. My goodness. You can hear that this man was on a different level when it comes to mastering the keys from this piano. He was playing piano seamlessly. It was in a beautiful way. But they said to him, the MD, the music director, simply said to him, yeah, but you can't play it because this is what he has to play. This is what Stevie has to play. So that's fine. So what am I going to do? They said, how about we give you a guitar so you can play guitar? I said, yeah, sure. So he moves now from the piano to the guitar, and he plays the guitar even so more beautifully. And I simply says, what kind of man was this gentleman was? But why? It was the man he became, see, because he gave us a permission to look fear in the eye and simply say, I'm not going to be scared by you. I'm not going to be paralyzed by you. I'm simply going to use the ingredient of pain and fear that you're giving me. Use that to lose myself in the music, and as I'm gonna mix my pain, my pain, I'm using my pain into my music, into my craft. It's simply going to give me a more authentic brand that will come to be known as Prince. Eventually, the man that formerly was known as Prince, and of course, the rest is history. All right, I'm done. I'm gonna stop here right now. Let me see if there's any question or any feedback. Yes, 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 yes. Oh my goodness, my goodness. She's in the house, all the way from DC. All the way from DC. Coach Mimi Dabo, she's in the house. Mimi Dabo, I-Ticket Profit Explosion Coach is in the house. Everyone please say hello to her. And what she's saying, here's the comment. There's a difference between moving through pain with ease and chasing easy. Yes, 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 yes. As a matter of fact, what you're saying is so true. Because many young people right now, they're looking for life on easy street. They believe that if I can just go and live on easy street, my life will be completely different. But what they don't realize is the fact that ease can become a poison for you. As a matter of fact, the one way to prove it, just look at a gentleman by the name of Warren Buffett. Is in late 90s right now, but it's still very active as far as the brain is concerned. Here's what it says. It says, by the time I'm done, I'm a very wealthy man. And of course, you know that I've amassed an incredible amount of fortune when it comes to money. But by the time I'm done, I'm not going to leave 90% of my money to my kids, because I know that this will be a detriment to their growth, because they're going to take the money and start living on easy street, and that will basically cause their brain to start basically dwindling. But if I can give them just enough to live by and then figure out a way to actually build on fortune, that's going to be a great legacy. For the rest of the money, what I'm going to just make sure I give it away to other charities, because I want my children to be able to think on their feet. But unfortunately for us, most people, when they are presented with two opportunities, either to go live on easy street or to go live in a place of hard knocks, they will simply say, give me life on easy street, because I can see that, yes, I can go on to live, to eat 4 or 5 times a day and go to the best school and so on and so forth. This could be a very good life. But unfortunately, what they don't seem to realize is that eventually, this easy life, it will actually cause your brain to start basically dwindling, to start shrinking in size, because you are not using the full capacity of your brain as someone living in a place of fear. Because as Prince was actually living in a place of fear, his brain was now on full operation, trying to figure out exactly how he was going to go from where he was to the next level or dimension. So the one kid, the one child, just like Bob Marley's story, the one child that basically was actually shuffled back and forth between his mom's house and his dad's house, and eventually dad simply said, you're not going to live with me because I don't see how 2 people can live in the same house and you want to challenge my authority. So you're going to go out. The one child that basically was actually kicked out is the one who eventually, like Bob Marley, came to put the family names on the map. So because he was a born Prince Nelson Rogers, his first name was still there, but his family name came to actually grow exponentially because of the action taken by the one child that was basically ostracized, once like Bob Marley was ostracized by his own family. Why? Because they chose to look at fear as a key ingredient of success as opposed to a detriment. And as they embrace fear and they use it, they mix it with the passion, it gave birth to all this amazing thing. There was also this other story. Yeah, John D. Rockefeller, yeah, the name came back to me. When he was actually born, his father used to be a Rolling Stone, not as a musician, but as basically a lifestyle. The Rolling Stone song, I don't know if you know the song. Papa was a Rolling Stone, wherever he lays heart. You know the story, you know the song. So that song was basically the life story of his father, because his father was actually a traveling salesman. So as a traveling salesman, he was never home, to eventually to the point where he started basically entertaining a second home away from home, to the point where he never came back. So John D. Rockefeller simply said to himself, but my goodness, what is it that causing this father to simply walk away from this woman and simply say, I'm not good enough to be his son? So the son simply said, by the time I'm 17, I'm going to be able to put together a fortune. I'm going to be able to win, to earn at least $100,000. And guess what? He went on to even surpass that goal and to become one of the wealthiest and most iconic figures in the world of finances in America. Why? Because he used the pain of rejection. He used the pain of rejection, the pain of fear, simply saying, but my goodness, so what's going to happen to me? I don't have someone to call daddy around me. I don't have daddy to run to in Christmas. I don't have daddy to run to in Easter. So what am I going to do? He took that pain and mixed it with his ambition, with his passion, and it gave birth to this persona known as John D. Rockefeller, the one who left us his building in America in New York State by, I believe it's the Empire State Building, right? I think that's what he left for us as a legacy. Many legacy. So again, choose to actually live in a place where life is hard, but use that hard place of life to actually mix it with your passion, to mix it with your ambition to rise to the whole, all the way to the top level. And that's how you're going to make history and be fun, discover your true self, and discover also your most authentic brand. And that's how you're going to be able to lead change and manage change, and from a place of actually being fearless. Oh my goodness, my goodness. I'll say my friend in the house here, Misha B67, thank you very much for being. I so appreciate you. Oh, yes. Coach Mimi that was making fun of me because she said, I'm singing now. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes, and Joel Amentini is saying something key. He's saying, easy does not build brand. And as a matter of fact, nothing could further from the truth. Oh my goodness. I can walk you from A string just to prove the point very quickly as well. In the 1930s, I believe October 14, 1930. But yes, history is coming to me now. I'm in life, I'm on. October 20th, 1930, in Africa, in the Congo, Belgian Congo, quote unquote, was born a young man that came to be known as Joseph Désiré. Joseph Désiré was actually born to a mother, but the father very quickly became actually missing. So he was actually now raised by his stepfather, who happened to be a cook, a chef working for some Belgian couple in the province of Equateur, which is basically one of the states of the country. Eventually, it caught the attention of the people because it seemed like a very natural man who loved to study very well. But this young man was actually traumatized by the fact he did not know his father because his father was actually missing. So he used this pen to mix it with his ambitions. He said, I'm going to now use the pen of absence, the pen of a missing father, the pen of a father I've never known. Mix it with my ambition to now rise to the top. So he took this pen, and slowly but surely started building a brand. And the brand eventually came to give birth to someone completely different that came to be known not as Joseph Désiré, but simply as Mobutu Sese Seko Kukuwendo Wazabanga, otherwise known as the leopard, the man who ruled over the Congo between 1965 and 1997, and it was a man who left simply an imprint on the country because he simply came to be known as a brand, as a personal brand. Why? Because he simply said, I'm going to take the pen. I'm going to take the pen that you're feeding me, but I'm not going to run away from it. I'm going to take the pen and mix it with my ambition and my passion for leadership. I'm going to take the pen of a missing father and mix it with my ambition and my passion for leadership and put something together and give birth to someone that you're going to remember as Mobutu Sese Seko Kukuwendo Wazabang, otherwise known as one of the most iconic figures in the world of politics in Africa, and still completely amazing. Yes, so I was just responding to Mr. Joel Amentivi's comment. Yes, so Coach Mimi that was simply saying, learn to embrace the pain. Absolutely. Learn to embrace the pain. So I'm going out to a comment. Yes. Choose to believe you are big. Choose to believe that you are big right now. Like Bob Marley, 1962, barely aged 17. He says to his father, to his mom, I'm going to be a musician. But enough with the musician, you have to have access to goods. You have to have access to instruments, access to money to actually go put together an album. He had none of that. But slowly but surely, because he chose to believe he was actually big. As a matter of fact, here's the funny thing. Branding is something amazing. He was actually born named Robert Nesta Marley. Robert Nesta Marley. At one point during his career, the people handling him said, we have to change your name. We have to start calling you a different name. And one key thing he actually held on to his people said, no, you can get rid of Nesta, that's fine. But the first part of my name, which is basically Robert, can't go away. We're going to change it. And guess what the funny thing is? Robert simply means what? A flame. So basically, he said the burning part of who I am has to stay. So as he chose to embrace the first part of his name, the flame, and he used that to mix it with the fear he was experiencing and the rejection he was going through, his father was actually missing. Number one. Number two, his own brothers and sisters from the father's second marriage chose to simply reject him. Said, you are not good enough to be our brother. We're not going to give him money when it comes to your dream. He simply went back home. He simply said, I'm going to put together a song. And the song is simply called The Stone That the Builders Have Rejected. Has gone on to become the head cornerstone that's going to simply keep everything together. And this is how it came to put not only the country on the map, known as Jamaica, but also his own family name on the map. If you fly to Jamaica right now, and as you're reaching Jamaica, the first music you're going to hear as you reach Jamaica, guess what it's going to be? It's not going to be anybody, it's going to be only one person. Bob Marley. And when you go through Kingston, you start driving around, you're going to see statues that were actually built for one person, Bob Marley. Why? Because this gentleman single-handedly managed to put the country on the map. But he did that after going through serious amounts of pain. But he used the pain and the fear that was coming from that to mix it with his ambition and his skill and his passion and his skills. And his ambition mixed with fear, mixed with pain, gave birth to the brand that we know today as Bob Marley. Good morning to you too. Jennings Ward, thank you very much for being. I so appreciate you so very much. Thank you very much for being here. So choose to be big as well, you too. My goodness. Your oyster is on fire. Who's saying that? I coach me that, but thank you very much. Yes. As a matter of fact, lose myself in the music. Yes. So I can take you from one genre of music to the next. I can take you from one area of music of history to the next. I can basically, my mind is wired for this. When this young man was actually born, by the name of he came to be known eventually as Eminem. He was actually being raised in a place of hard knocks. He was being raised in Detroit. Detroit, when basically the city was completely destitute. The city was in shambles. At one point himself, he says, the only way out of this place is through my passion and my ambition. I want to reach the top. But I know I don't look at the people that actually basically seem to have mastered the craft actually rapping. But I'm going to find a way to lose myself in my craft and to lose myself in my passion to the point where I'm going to give birth to a brand. The brand will be known as Eminem. And he wanted to write a song to simply says, lose yourself in the music. And as you listen to the song and you look at how the song is doing phenomenally well up until now, even on YouTube, you're gonna come to it as one thing. The man simply decided to lose himself in the music. He lost himself so much in the music that the music simply molded him and gave birth to a giant, and the giant gave birth to phenomenal music that simply continued to bring tons of money for himself and his legacy. Nana Foodies, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. Thank you very much for everything. I so appreciate you. Toya and Toya Life Acts, thank you so very much for being here. I so appreciate you. Oh my goodness. Again, this was not a premiere. This was actually a live. This is a live session. Joel Amen TV, thank you very much for being here. I so appreciate you. Oh, Latoya Dali, thank you very much. And let me see. EK Media is here. I've acknowledged everyone. So please now, bear with me. Let's do what we do best and just make sure that everyone knows how to get a hold of one another. All right. So I'm going to be actually sharing the link. So what I'm going to ask you to do after this is to simply go and say hello to the people I'm going to actually introduce you to. Just go see what they do and just go see what they do. All right, so go see what they do. Oh, yeah. Oh, please bear with me. Oh, what have I done? Oh my goodness. Yeah, so just find a way to go say hello to the people I'm going to introduce you to. Yes, please bear with me. Yes, so I've given you access to, so Misha B67, please bear with me. Please bear with me. Good people, please go say hello to one another. Okay, and Joel Amen TV, please bear with me. Okay, and if I'm missing you, please just type a mountain in the chat section. I'm going to go look for your channel. If I missed you somehow, please tap mountain in the chat section. I'm gonna go look for your channel and make sure that your link is also shared with the rest of the people. Okay. Fantastic. All right, so I think I've actually covered everything. Thank you very much for being here. So I appreciate you, Misha B67. Yes, and one key thing. Before, of course, I go, if there's any question, please let me know. I'm going to just slow down to answer your question. One key thing I'm going to only ask you to do is 4 key things. Please make sure to like the video so YouTube know that we're actually delivering great value as far as what we do is concerned. Please make sure to leave a comment in the comment section so we know exactly what you're watching me for, so I can actually make sure I can customize my presentation to meet wherever you actually live. Number 3, please make sure to share the video with as many people as possible. We can continue to grow as much as possible. Last but not least, please make sure to subscribe if you have not already done so. All right, and of course, this is a bonus. I would like to work with you when it comes to your journey to wealth creation. That's number 1. More specific when it comes to personal branding. How to put together the best personal brand that can help you reach the kind of presentation or charisma or persona that can simply command a higher income as far as you are concerned, and draw the resources and the people that you need to actually help you propel yourself to the next level or dimension. So if this is something that maybe if you're ahead, I guess that's the reason, then yeah, reach out to me and see how we can actually work together and actually help you put together something, strategy that can help you over the next 90 days to actually take your life from wherever it is right now all the way to where you so deserve to be. All right? Now, let me see if there's any question from you out there, you here, so I can actually answer them. Otherwise, I will be taking my leave very shortly because I'm getting ready to do a few things. As a matter of fact, I have to jump on, not jump, I have to actually go attend to a few live as well. I think Nana Food is already on, and my amazing family, Daniel MT, will be on today at noon, basically in about 1 hour, and I'm getting ready to also jump on that live as well, just to see what she did and just show support the way that she deserves to get supported as far as what she does is concerned. All right. In the meantime, please make sure to continue to support one another and say hello to one another so we can actually continue to grow together as a tribe. As for now, I'll be taking my leave, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow morning again. Tomorrow I'll try to go early because tomorrow is Saturday, Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern time in Toronto, so we can actually spend some time together and review a few things together. All right, much love, everyone. Hope you're going to have a fantastic day, everyone, a fantastic weekend. The best is yet to come, but as I keep saying, in order for the best to be manifested, you and I have to remain simply intentional when it comes to how we carry ourselves in this season and beyond. All right, please bear with me. Let me see if there's any other question before I take my leave. Okay, let me see. Please bear with me. Okay. No, there's not a question. Thank you very much. All right, love you so much. Have yourself a powerful weekend. See you tomorrow, 7 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. Take good care. The best is yet to come.